Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the 2019 Black History Month campaign, Icons, Rockstars, and Innovators. I am the co-host and co-producer of Mixed Company Podcast, as you know, and we're doing this in conjunction and partnership with the Advertising Club of New York. So today I have a true legend, a true innovator, a rock star, and an icon for the industry. I'm here with Mr. Bernard Bernie Drayton, who we will continue to call Mr. Bernie. Bernie, how are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm sure you're busy.
Oh, all the time. Yeah, right.
All the time?
Yeah. No, I just try to stay moving.
Good.
You know, I mean, some of my older friends, I got friends that like in their 90s, and their advice is just keep moving.
All right. Well, that's good advice for all of us.
So I stay moving.
Amazing. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm actually really looking forward to our conversation. As you know, we are earmarking the golden era of Black advertising, which we have decided or have talked about being the late 1960s to the early 1990s, because we really want to get an idea of, all of the innovations and all of the people that deserve their recognition and celebration this February, which is Black History Month.
Right.
So before we even get into that, I want to hear a little bit more about you, your story, and your journey. Can you tell me about how you got into this business, and where did you stop?
Well, like I said, when I was growing up, I was in high school, and I was playing trumpet. And I thought I was either going to be like Lee Morgan or Miles Davis, and I was cool. I had my
So you were
shades
cool.
on.
You were a cool
please.
dude.
and things evolved. My daughter was born in my last year of high school. My trumpet was stolen. I had to find a gig, So along the way, I discovered photography was another area that I had some creative skills in. And so I was pursuing that for a while. And Roy DeCarava, who I thought I was going to be, he or either, who's the brother from Time Life.
Okay.
And he's the one that was mentoring me and said, your photography's okay. He said, but, your heart is in music. And you need to pursue that, So before you commit to this photography.
Okay, he was like, you're a good photographer, but I have a better idea for you. Okay.
And so I had a friend from Brooklyn, a brother who was in the industry as a producer, full producer at, I think, Gray Advertising at the time, named Ray Johnson. I knew him as Lionel, but in the industry, he was Ray Johnson.
That's all right.
And Ray recommended me for this gig at a music production company called Herman Adele Associates.
Okay.
And so I went and interviewed in Herman Adele. We hit it off, and I joined this company. And so along the way, Herman was like a real good mentor as well. And I tell this story because, you know how we be sometimes. I was fronting and I was cute and cool and all of that.
You had your swagger ready to go.
Oh, yeah. And this was like 6 months, 9 months, a year later. And he one day said to me, I want you to come and sit this evening and sit down and we got to talk. I said, okay. So I went in and sat down with him. And he said, you're really good. He said, you're better than me, and I'm good. He said, if I didn't think you were bullshitting yourself, I would fire you. And began, to give me some insights into all of that commentary.
He told you about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, but it was, man, one of the best things that happened for me, man, because the rest was history after that, And he was always there, That's why, when people, what are these programs? And not the diversity thing, but when they hire people with a preference, what do they call that?
When they hire people with a preference?
Yeah.
Talking about affirmative action?
Yeah, affirmative
Okay.
action. I mean, that's what true affirmative action is about. You know, it's
Got
like
it.
you just can't, okay, give somebody a shot and throw them in the pool, and you know, if they can swim, okay. If not, they just go. You know?
Sounds like my career.
You know, it's that's why I believe in mentorship.
Yep.
You know,
I think that's really important
and
as well.
yeah, and throughout everything that I've done, I've had good mentors. You know, good people giving me some guidance.
Definitely. On the topic of mentorship, I know a lot of multicultural agencies have been mentioned as we've been putting together this content series, recognizing that a lot of mentors have come out of those agencies. Can you tell us a little bit about why do you think agencies like Burrell and Uniworld have been able to sustain so long in this industry and create an atmosphere of mentorship for a lot of today's leading Black advertising professionals?
Well, the only one I can speak to today that I'm really in touch with is some of the Burrell people, and maybe Carol H. Williams. People don't mention that sister a lot, you know, and she's still an independent agency, you know, and we all benefited by help from other people, you know. My only thing with when I would bring young guys on, my only thing to them, commitment-wise, was that you pass this on to worthy people. You know, I don't want anything else. I'm not looking for anything else. Just do good work, and then when you have an opportunity, pass it on.
Reach back, right?
Yeah. And I didn't get too much mentorship from the agencies. You know, as a matter of fact, I brought more to them than I got from them in terms of that. You know, had great people I worked with. One of the keys, one of the elements I found missing in the later years was the trust and respect that I had from day one from most people, even in the general market. Like I was in the general market for at least 10 years before I would do some projects, like this BC Powder stuff. It was would run in the South on the radio, would use all Black talent and everything.
Nice.
But other than that, I was like doing Dr. Pepper, Chevrolet, and like major accounts like that in the general market. And matter of fact, Herman told me at one point, I remember seeing, Ron Carter, all my favorite jazz musicians going down the hallway.
That's exciting.
Yeah, to play a session for some cigarette ad or something like
okay.
that. So I said, man, I wish I was doing that. And Herman said, no, you just wait. You can get to do that. He said, because like you do that now, they're just going to label you as the Black guy that do Black music, But I was just always put out front and supported. Matter of fact, I didn't even produce my stuff for years.
Interesting.
Because I had other people who were producing it. Until I finally worked with a brother named Leon Pendarvis, a piano player, arranger, composer. And he does a lot of these Saturday Night Live things. He's in that band.
Cool.
And
all this history, you're just giving it to him. This is great.
And we produced an album together with one of my clients, a young guy I met in Chicago, was at Burnett and moved to San Francisco. He was a young gay guy, and George McMahon, and he called me up. We did a lot of work just in general, but he called me up one day and said, man, I got this record project for us. I said, yeah. I said, what is it? He said, well, they're having this big gay ball in San Francisco called the Stars. This is 1979, height of the disco era.
Okay.
And
height of the golden age of advertising too, right?
Yeah, and he said, and I wrote this song. You think we can get Penn to do it? And I think we used Yolanda McCullough as a singer on that. And we produced this record. So in this process of producing the record, Leon said, look, I ain't doing this by myself. He said, y'all gonna learn how to produce. You know?
Okay.
And it just fine-tuned my production things, and I was like, shit, I could do this.
Now you can do all the things.
Yeah, you know, I said, what made me think I couldn't, you know?
It's funny that you mention general market because there are quite a lot of people that have only general market experiences, and particularly being of color and young in the business, we find it oftentimes challenging to navigate that side of the business. Recognizing that you came in the earlier years, or like we're talking about the golden age of Black advertising, what was your experience as a man of color navigating the general market agencies?
Well, because of the uniqueness of the time, I mean, it was just like right on the edge of coming out of the civil rights era. So there was a different consciousness amongst white folks, particularly younger people and young creative people. So there was more of an acceptance, and once I, like I said, or just leave me there, let me meet people, I'll take care of myself.
You got it, okay.
And once I got there, I mean, I established a trust. They could see I could do the gig and do it good. So there was never a problem. I had like a pretty good life, and I didn't have any stress, you know. Along that, I might have gotten more stress out from black folks in that period than I did from the people in the general market side. I mean, I've got lifelong friends that I'm still in contact with every day. You know, it's like guys like Della Femina and his partner Ron Travisano. They just opened their place up.
That's amazing.
You know, I didn't have to prove myself. You know.
You were just there to do good work.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so I had a pretty good time coming along. You know, I didn't have any kind of real problems till later.
That is okay.
That's why I quit. That's why I left.
That is why you quit.
You know, because the things were changing. It's changing everywhere and all around. And we did it at the best of times, with the best of people, the best materials, and just everything. You know, I'd go to Rome to record a radio spot for Alitalia Airlines. So
it sounds like it really was the golden era for
you know, I mean, for me it was great. It was good times. You know, I had very little negative. I don't know what they were saying behind my back.
But you had a good time.
But I had a good time.
Okay, that's good.
You know, but you know, like I said, those people are still around and still in my life. You know. On all sides of the industry.
Are there any moments in your career that you find should be celebrated as, let's say, Black advertising history that we can talk about on this series?
Oh, there's a couple of instances, you know. And it's like my three best places that I've worked were like, once I made that transition, I consciously made this transition because it was available now, and it was doing music that I loved just naturally. It was like the Uniworld experience, the Burrell experience, and the Carol H experience. And they each were different, you know, because it's different creatives, different approaches and all that. But the one prevailing thing that in our work relationship was love, trust, and respect, which, you know, I was part of the team. You know, I just didn't come in to provide you with this thing, you know. Valerie would call me up and say, hey, B, we got this thing I'm thinking about, you know, why don't you come down and see what you think about it? You know, we kicked some ideas around, and, you know, it all worked with the music, and so it was that kind of relationship,
right.
and we all loved what we did.
Sounds like family, really.
Yeah, and you know, because I called the creative side of advertising the last vestige of commissioned art.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because it was, you know, it used to be the king going to Hondo, give me some water music, you know, so, but now it's like Dr. Pepper and Chevrolet and Burger King.
Big brands.
You know.
Okay.
So, I mean, I had a really good time. You know.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm extremely jealous right now, so thank you.
And they, you know, and I don't think, just from what I see on the air, I wouldn't want to be doing it because it's like shallow, so much of it.
Got it.
And I'm tired of seeing Negroes dancing lately. You know, you know, if he's doing a spot, you know.
People do other things. People of color have other talents. I
Yeah,
hear
you know, it's
We're
like
smart.
that's like, you know, the minstrel show all over again, you know. But that's from not having, hopefully, not having any black input, you
I
know,
hear
or
you.
cultural input.
Which is why we need more diversity. We
Yeah.
need more people that can see
Yeah.
people of color in a different light and
Right.
in a different perspective.
Because people wouldn't wind up in trouble and the problems that they have from, oh, we didn't know that. Yeah, but if you had that sister in there writing the spot,
She would have told you.
she would have told you.
Don't do that.
You know, just at least have her in the room. You know,
Some cultural quality
Yeah.
assurance.
Yeah,
Got it.
Right.
Amazing. Well, Mr. Bernie, thank you so much for being a part of this series. It has been nothing short of a nostalgic trip down memory lane that I only wish I could have been there to experience, but I definitely want to try to bring more of that trust into my own experiences in this business. And thank you all for continuing to watch this series of icons, rock stars, and innovators, and we will be back with more. Thank you.
Bye-bye.